In UAE haijaandikwa mahali ati tunafaa kuja huku kufanya kazi za security na za nyumba, ati kukua kama wewe ni Mkenya, obviously enda kwa watchman, enda ukalea watoto. Hiyo si eti tumeandikiwa. I believe like if we do something or if we align ourselves to this country, we can really achieve a lot. Now we can get into like tunaweza penetrate fields zenye at least zitatupatia decent income, because Kenyans are extremely smart. Utapata mtu ni security lakini mtu akona degree ya engineering, mtu akona degree ya mathematics, all those. Hiyo masomo yote hatuwezi kaa hapa 10 years tuache ipotelee hivyo. Wazazi walilipia pesa nyingi sana, some people sacrificed a lot in university. So this is why I'm here to talk to people who did science. What are they called? Is it science? Our watu wa engineering, watu wa architect, people who did anything that regards that. Watu wenye wana work around careers that are around mjengo. Okay, not really like labor, but if you are in Kenya, ungekuwa like the lead engineer, or I don't know what careers. They only know the engineer and the architect. Yeah, whatever. The ones who did those kind of courses, whether in diploma levels, whether in degree levels. Those are the people I want to talk to today. So, if you are one of these people, are you aware like UAE iko na net zero goal? Yeah, 2050. No, like in Kenya, like how we had like the vision 2020. So how we're gonna like some sustainable goal towards 2050 to produce net zero emissions or something. I'm not an engineering person, but I know that something like that exists. I will explain. So the mjengos here in UAE, they have specific standards that they need every building to achieve, and so those standards is that they need to be efficient, healthy, and produce the least amount of waste. So number one, there is energy efficiency. That is the cooling thing. So then there's standards for insulation, there's standard for smart lighting, there's standard for solar power. Like many buildings are now required to generate a portion of their own electricity using solar panels. Yeah, so things like that. About water conservation, so the UAE, it has little fresh water, as you know. This is a desert area, so every fixtures that are coming up in these buildings, like taps, toilets, they need to use 30 to 40% less water. So they need to have specific fixtures like that. Okay, and then there's need to be a system grey water recycling, like taking water from the sinks, showers, treating it and using it to water like plants. You see, like there's pipes outside here and everything. Yeah, and then there is sustainable materials. This means recycling contents, like using the street or the concrete that has recycled parts, low VOC paints, like using paints that don't release toxic chemicals. And then there is regional materials, like buying sand, blocks, and tiles from local UAE factories, okay, to reduce the pollution caused by shipping them from other countries. And then number 4, there is waste management. So that is, construction usually creates a lot of trash, so the green standards require that there is waste diversion. At least 50% or 75% of construction waste, like wood, metal, and plastic, must be sent to recycling centers instead of being dumped in a landfill. So those are the goals that every construction site needs to achieve. So what I'm trying to get into is that there is standards that these construction or developers are rated by, so they get a certificate for reaching these standards. Yeah, and some standards, if they don't reach, they will not be approved and they will not be let to continue with their construction. You mean like there's checks? Obviously, to practice as an engineer in UAE, you need to be licensed. But the engineer who is licensed is not going to do the groundwork of checking the taps and checking all those things that I did. So there is those careers that are support careers, assistant careers, documenters, the ones who are giving the documents. We'll get into that, but I'm just trying to get into that you don't need to be licensed here. They don't need to recognize your degree from back then as an engineer. But there is so many support roles. And also, so what I'm trying to get into is that if you align yourself towards these and certify yourself, like you learn the vision, the 2050 net zero goals, and learn the systems, get a certification, and we will get into that as well, then you can be able to fit into these support roles in this field. Mjengo is always going on here. Hii mji haijaiacha kujengwa since we came here 10 years ago. Wameishi kujenga. And with that goal, if it's going all the way to 2050, it means there's a lot of hirings, there's a lot of roles that will still come up in order to help this country to achieve this role. And as you know, hii nchi population yake ni kidogo. All the people who are here working in these constructions, the engineers and everyone, the assistant, the support roles, they are all foreigners. We are foreigners. These roles are not for specific foreigners. If they were for the locals here, we will accept and say, okay, this is their country. But these roles, they are for foreigners. We are also foreigners. So we can align ourselves and be able to fit into these goals, to fit into this, and to also to benefit from this. Okay? So the green standards in the UAE, usually they are measured by a system called Al-Safat. I'm reading here from my phone because it's very hard to pronounce. And in Abu Dhabi, it's measured under Estidama. So these Al-Safat, these developers, these new buildings, they have to have a rating. So they at least need to achieve a bronze in order to be approved. Yeah, the construction, whatever the ratings, like whatever will be, that building needs to be rated under the Al-Safat rating, and they need to achieve at least a bronze. I'm assuming there is higher ones. And then there is the Estidama for Abu Dhabi. This is Abu Dhabi system, and they use PALs. So 1 PAL, 2 PAL, etc. All buildings must have at least 1 PAL. Government buildings must have 2 PALs. So that is just the system that they use. So there is job openings in those buildings. They just don't become green. So the companies need to hire people to monitor the AC and water systems. They need to audit the waste coming off the site, that is the coordinators. And also they need to document every material used to prove to the government that they follow the rules. You see? So anu watu wa mkono, yani haubebi mawe lakini uko huko una do this kind of things that I just talked about. So I want to talk about this certification. It's called a LEED Green Associate. At LEED GA. I will put it here. So this is a foundation professional credential that proves a person has a solid, up-to-date understanding of green building principles. So it's a certain certificate that it's like some international standard certificate, because it's not just UAE that is trying to achieve these green goals. A lot of countries in the world are trying to do the same. So in the UAE, this certification is the gold standard for entering the sustainability market. So especially this certificate, it is designed for people who want to show that they are experts in sustainability. So you want to show that you are, these goals, you have aligned yourself, like even in an interview environment, like you need to say utaitumia kusema what you know, like generally it will show that you are actually in line with these goals. Okay, so even if you're not working as a licensed engineer, which might be a bit difficult to get licensed here in UAE from your qualification back home, so you can align yourself using this LEED certificate. So what LEED stands for is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. So this one is issued by the US Green Building Council, and it's like USGBC, and also it's administered by the Green Business Certification. It is recognized globally, especially in the UAE. So to get, it's an exam. It's like a paper exam that you need to study, like a workbook, and then you need to sit and answer around 200 questions in a proctored exam, or in some certain environments that you need to go to. So the LEED Green Associates, actually, they support the green building projects by ensuring the building meets specific environmental standards. So their work includes energy and water efficiency, waste management, documentation, indoor air quality. Those are things I already mentioned. So the exam is like 100 multiple choice questions. It takes 2 hours, and its cost is around, what is this? Okay, I will confirm the cost. It's around, I think, 2,000 or something. So the location, you will be taking it at a Prometric Testing Center. So the Prometric Testing Center, there are these centers in Dubai whereby the institution that you're taking the exam from will take you there, because it's a supervised place with cameras and everything. Those who have done exams here, you know. So you need to pass at least 170 of the 200 questions, and then you will get certified. Okay. So with this certificate, it will help you, even if you're not a licensed engineer in UAE, you can apply for jobs that don't really require for you to be a licensed engineer. It's like support roles in the engineering industry. So those roles, I will mention just a few. Like for example is sustainability coordinator. So this is a job where the person on the construction site or in an office who ensures the green rules are being followed. So you track how much waste is recycled, check if the materials bought are eco-friendly, and attend meetings with the project managers. You see? So also another one is the lead documentation specialist. So the green buildings require thousands of pages of proof, photos, receipts, technical sheets to get the official certification. Your job is to organize and submit this data to the USGBC or whatever. Number 3, the energy auditor assistant. So the job is to visit existing buildings, malls, hotels, offices to find out where they are wasting electricity and water. You use tools to measure airflow, light levels, and power usage. And then another one is building management system operator. So this role, you can sit in the control room and use software to monitor the building's energy. If a room is too cold or lights are left on, you adjust the system from your computer to save energy. You see, those are roles that the main engineer is not doing. The main engineer is doing the big work. So these are support roles. Another one is a solar technical assistant. So this one is for helping with the design or site supervision of solar panels installations on villas. So that's it. You're certified, you have the certificate, you passed the exam if you studied the workbook. Okay, so obviously when you go online and search for those jobs, they will say 8 years experience, 7 years experience, and all those. Just focus on the entry ones, the assistant roles. Those ones they will not have it. With having the certification and also being knowledgeable in the interview. Obviously if you took the test, you read the workbook, so this stuff is in your mind. You are an engineer obviously, so you know these things. Also you can do some extra things like there is the manual, this manual that I just mentioned, the Dubai Al Safat, and if you're in Abu Dhabi, the Estidama. You can take the effort to memorize these manuals, know how to work, get to go and research the softwares that they are used in this industry. And also you can just do networking. I'm sure there's a club, there is whatever. You can go to YouTube and watch the videos of all the sustainable goals and all those, so that when you're sitting in an interview, you look like a person who knows what he's talking about. But Kenyans are very smart. I'm sure you can do this. Kenyans are very advanced people, na ni hao nyinyi ndio ninaongelesha. Yeah, so kama wewe ni mtu uko unafanya security ama uko tu una maybe I think hata project managers, kama mtu alifanya project management, kama mtu alifanya supply and supply chain, now you would like to, sasa supply chain manager mwenye na work kwa construction, I mean the person who is sourcing all these materials, if you get this certificate, it will be an advantage to you kwa sababu you can show that you are able to source green materials zenye ziko in line with zitawasaidia hiyo building to be closer to towards the goals or whatever. Yeah, so this is just information I am sharing. For mtu asikuja kuniuliza ati ni mtafutie kazi ya sustainability, ni mtafutie sijui kazi gani. I don't have those jobs, please. And if you get that kind of information, what you need to do is go and research more about it. Usikuje kuniuliza, because I'm just making this video sharing my information of what I know. But you have Wi-Fi, you have the time, go and research about it. You had it here, so just go and do further research, get to know more about it. You can even come and share more knowledge on the comment section. We are all learning. Tunasaidiana sana ndio tuache kufanya kazi za, you know, tuache kupigania zile kazi za huko hivyo chini na hawa watu. Unajua watu wenye wamejaa huku, tuache kushinda tumepigania huko, na sisi ni watu wenye wamesoma, sisi ni watu wenye wako na akili. Yeah, tusishinde tumepigania kazi ya receptionist, tusishinde tumepigania kazi ya mjengo, tusishinde tumepigania kazi ya security, tusishinde tumepigania kazi ya tunalalamika ati sijui wengine wanalipwa pesa nyingi kama kadama. Hata kuja huku kufanya hizo kazi. Ni venye tu nchi yetu imesota, tuko na madeni, tuko wengi na kazi hazitoshi, serikali imeiba pesa, lakini akili tuko nazo. That's why I'm making this video. I was intending to make this video in Kiswahili, lakini Kiswahili imepotea. Yeah.